The last couple of months in crypto have been extremely difficult. And you know what? In the future, there's going to be many times that the market's going to be difficult too. But in today's show, I want to show you guys two powerful tools that can help you not only survive these tough periods, but actually make money. And the best part about it is you're not going to have to do any work than opening the initial trade. This for me was one of the most powerful things that helped me survive bear markets. You survive bear markets, you get to be a part of the opportunity that come from bear markets. When you have seen a lot of downside in the market, that also creates opportunity to make a ton of upside. So surviving is important, as well as being able to open positions and not get destroyed when the market gets into these hard phases. And these tools I'm going to be teaching you guys is called grid bots. Now in the video, I'm going to be showing you how to open up a bot when it comes to a spot bot, as well as a leverage bot. Then I'm going to be showing you guys a bunch of charts and show you where is the best time to open up bots, as well as how do you open them and how do you structure these bots. And then I'm going to show you guys how to monitor these bots. Now what's amazing about this is you make money in two ways. The first one is if you get it correct, you say it's going to go up over time, you're going to make money going up. Secondly, the bot's actually getting in and out in a specific phase. So you also make profits in between the bot getting in and out throughout the choppiness. So what this unlocks is a second stream of income when it comes to your trade. Usually open up a trade and you'll make money on the gains. Now you make money in between that too. And guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to open these bots on a platform called Bitget. Now guys, Bitget have tons of different tokens, good liquidity, and the system is very simple to use. Now, if you guys don't have a Bitget account, there's a link below in the description. Click on that link, sign up on that link, and you will get a bonus by using that specific link. But now that you've opened up your account, you get to this main dashboard over here, right? This is where you're going to find all the different types of trading that the platform has to offer. And where you want to go, right, is you want to go to this one, which is trade, and you're going to go down to bots, right? And you'll see this button over here, bots. And then on the right of it, you'll see the different types of bots that they have. I'm going to show you guys the very basic, simple ones, which is the spot grid bot and the futures grid bot. First one I'm going to show you guys is spot. So once you click on this, it will then take you to the bot section. Once you come in, it's going to look something like this. Now, the first thing you need to understand is top left-hand side is a token that you want to create a bot on. You have the chart, you can do some analysis, you have time frames, and all the simple data that you get usually on an exchange. And on the right-hand side, this is where the action happens. This is where you're going to be actually opening up or placing or setting your bot up. Now, you've got two different options. There's the AI, which means there's a bunch of AIs that have been created that you can just copy, right? For me, however, I'm here to learn the skill and build my own bots off my own analysis. The bot for me is not there to take away how do I trade, right? It's there to take away, I've made my decision, I'm going to set it, I'm going to put a stop loss in, and I'm going to allow it to have time, right? I don't have time and energy to sit every day and watch positions. On a high time frame, I'm pretty happy with my decision. So I don't want to get chopped up. I want to make money if the market chops around here, but ultimately I don't want to waste time and energy. Therefore, that's where bots step in for me, which means next to the AI section is manual, right? Where you will manually open up a bot. Now, before you're looking to open up a bot, you do have to put capital into the account. Remember, in many exchanges, specifically Bitget, there's different wallets, right? So you have a funding wallet, you have a spot wallet, you have a futures wallet, and then you'll also have a bot wallet as well. So you click on this over here. So this is where you'll transfer the capital. So usually when you put money into account, it'll either be in spot or funding, but you'll select from and where to. Now, if you're trading a spot grid bot, you're sending the money to spots, right? If you're trading a futures grid bot, you're sending it to futures. And that's where the capital will be laying. Okay, once you've done that, you will then see your capital arrive over here, right? Spot available, here we go. Now let's speak around what we are actually doing here. Guys, there are many times that this market is in a difficult phase. If we look at the last couple of weeks alone, it's been quite tricky when it comes to what this market wants to do. And you can see along the journey, and this is just a chart of altcoins in general. Along the journey, you're always going to get these phases where they become quite difficult to trade. They're not really going up much, they're not really going down, right? There's these certain phases where they just stop at some points and they absolutely get very annoying to trade, right? You get in, you get out, you get in, you get out. It becomes quite tough. But there's a way, if you start to read the picture of what's happening there, right, it's known as the phase before we start making another big move. Okay, so a lot of the times you could see this big period here ended up resulting in a massive run, right? This phase over here ended up in a nice strong run. After a nice run over here and went into this phase, we had another run. So to the up or downside, you get these phases, and these phases are known as accumulation. Once they break out of those phases, they start moving to a trending type of momentum. And I'll explain how the grid bots, you can kind of change your strategy if the market does go to that. So if the market does move at any point from ranging means we're chopping around, into trending, I'm going to show you guys how you can adapt your bots as well. Okay, so if we look at this here, it was quite tricky to trade over the last couple of weeks. But was it really? So if we look at this over here and we just draw two simple lines, just to know what is this thing been doing, right? You can get a nice idea that it's kind of been in this range. And if you specifically look at what can happen over the next month, right? I want to set a bot up to make me money for the next month, right? You kind of got to look at, okay, in the last month, where have we kind of been ranging? What are the tops? What are the bottoms? Where we've been sitting, right? And what I look to do is I look at doing not the exact top, not the exact bottom, but more the consistent bounces of where we've been, right? And if you look at this as a whole here, you could see that many times we have entered this and we have bounced, and many times we have hit this and we have rejected to the downside, right? So it gives me an idea that through this period over here, this is probably a good way for as long as we are ranging in the zone here. That's kind of the play that I'm looking for. Now, what grid bots do is it basically breaks your capital up. And this becomes quite difficult as a manual user to do as a trader because it's just a lot of maintenance. But what it basically says is it says, okay, I want you to choose an area where you want to buy. And then I want to choose an area where you want to sell. And it's basically these two blocks that you are choosing here. And what it says is to say, okay, off of your calculations, if you want to have an area of where you want to buy, right, an area where you want to sell, we're going to split that money up for you, okay, and buy it correctly so that the money is used in different batches. It's not all used at once. So what that means is if you set your high range up here and you set your low range down here, and price is in the middle, what it's going to do is it's going to calculate and put multiple buy orders in the zone. You actually get to decide how many of those orders or grids that you want to set, but it's going to set tons and tons and tons of limit orders all the way down over here. That basically means if you have $1,000, right, it's going to break that $1,000 up, okay, and it's going to set it into multiple orders, okay, and then on the other side, what it's going to do is it's going to set sell orders over here, and it's basically going to have so many different sell orders to the upside and so many to the downside, right? And the whole thesis of this is to trade the range. So as price goes down, if you have $1,000, it will decide, okay, it's going to enter $50 in now, and then it's going to have $10 as an example per limit order that's sitting over here. So now you're in $50, price goes down, ends up tagging you in another $200. Then price goes up. The moment it starts tapping into here, it starts to sell, right? And then it starts to sell you out. Then it gets to a certain point where you sold out, right? Then when it comes down, it buys you in again. When it goes up, it sells you out. So the way you're basically making money here is you are buying certain portions, and again, it will buy, if it goes to the bottom of the range, it'll buy everything up. And if it doesn't, it will only buy a certain amount. But the moment that it goes back in, it will start to sell it off, right? And if it goes to the top area here, it will sell all the positions out that you have. And ultimately, what it's going to do is buy and sell and accumulate. And you're going to earn in two ways. You're going to earn off the profits as well as the mini trades that are happening in between that. So the way you can make money in two different ways off this trade is if it comes down and it buys up and it goes up and it hits the main range at the top, all the buys here averaged out to one price. And if it was $1,000 averaged at this price in the middle and it's sold here, you make that profit. But what also happens is what happens if it doesn't go there in a straight line? It has multiple moves before it goes to the top. This would have been traded in and out multiple times. Therefore, you would have had profits from those trades too, right? So it adds in a second stream of income, which is great. And it's something that's way better than just buying once and kind of holding. I've seen before that my trade has done this and then I lost the trade and I actually made money and I was in profit because this made profits for me, right? More than just the loss. Which gets me to the next point. What you can do is you can set a stop loss and you can set a take profit on the grid bot as well, right? So if it breaks below your grid and your thesis is invalid, so for example over here, that big trend at the bottom I was speaking about earlier, you can put a stop loss at the bottom. And if it drops that lower range over there, it will stop you out so that you don't stay in a loss if it decides to continue to the downside. Two ways of making money, but secondly, it's automated. And it gives you time to just relax and allow allow the market to do what it needs to do. Now, why is that so important? As you zoom out here, you see that if you survive these hard times, you would have made a lot of money, which means ultimately it's the hardest point to stay in the market, but it does reward the most. Now, let's say as an example, we have this range we spoke about, and the market starts pushing up and decides to break here. You can take this range over here and you can actually edit it and extend it. You can extend and say, hey, I want the range now to go up here with my sells, and I want my buys to now move up. Right, I want to move my ranges up. You can actually do that, right? So let's jump into the action over here and create a bot together. So I'm going to use Bitcoin as an example, right? Now the bots you can either set as a longer term type of view. When do I do spot bots? It is for the higher time frame in my circumstances. I look for weekly time frames. Someone's going to trade for the next 6 months or so, right? Someone looking a little bit for the long term, type of thing. That for me is usually the play. However, you can set spot bots for 2 weeks. You can set it for a month, all depending on what you're seeing. So I'm going to do an example here on Bitcoin. I'm just going to do some basic analysis to say that, okay, Bitcoin for me over the next month, we should be looking at a bounce in this area over here. There's supports all the way down, okay? And I can clearly see we're struggling to get it back above the top, right? So if I draw up these two basic zones over here, I can basically narrow this down to this. That is when I'm interested in buying in the green zone, and that is when I'm interested in selling into the red zone. Where I want to put a stop loss will be this area over here. So I'm going to make a nice yellow line so you can see it. There's the yellow line, okay? And a take profit will be up here. As an example, let me make take profit a nice blue one. Okay, there we go. Now let's set it up. So what is my low range? 70,490. There's my low range over there. What is my highest range? 83,000. There's 83,000. Now it's the important part, guys, which is grids. Now grids for me is how many buys and sells do you want to put? The more grids you put, there will be a good chance you can buy in more at times if it chops around and get out more as well. But you are going to be paying slight fees as well. When it comes to spot, the fees are not too bad. But when it comes to leverage, they're a little bit higher as well. So I tend to have slight more when it comes to my spot grids, right, versus my futures ones, okay? But I usually go anywhere between the 30 to the 40 mark when it comes to grids. And what that again does is just look at what it's set up for you now. There's all the sells, there's all the buys over there, right? So end of the day, it sets all of these up over here. You could have up to 10 grids, you can have up to 50 grids as well. It's all about what is your thought process. Do you think it's gonna prop around here before it goes down, right? Then you want a couple more grids to pay attention to this range over here, but not have to change it too often. Or do you think that it's gonna go droppy all the way through, a little bit less grids as well, right? So it all comes down to your analysis. Just 30 grids over here. Then I'm going to put in $50 as my investment, okay? I pop that in. Now what you do is you see this advanced settings. Click on this over here. If you want a stop loss, you click on this part over here. I'm going to put a stop loss at 71,500. And I'm going to put a take profits at 83,000. There we go. Create my bot, right? It will give you the basic information over here. It'll tell you your profit per grid, right, is 0.3%. Okay. And I will click this in over here. Successful. So now you can see you have something called running bot over here. Your bot is now officially open. You have your P&L, you have your total profit over here, your total investment. Okay. And then you have your information of your stop loss and your take profit, as well as your range. So again, this thing starts to break out now, wants to do something different. Maybe we're going to go higher. You can come here and you can adjust and change your actual areas as the trades are playing out. This is a very simple way to open up a bot, specifically when the market is ranging. You can open up multiple bots. This is where you'll find them. And again, you'll have your history over here and your favorites. And if you decide to copy any trading bots, this is where you will choose this over here and have an update to see how your bots are actually doing. So again, to clarify, you got the chart, you got the AI and manual section over here. Very simple to open up. If you are stuck, there is a beginner's guide here to just help you if you're stuck with anything specifically, and a very simple way to open up your bots. Now, let's get to the next point. The next point is leverage bots. Now, firstly, what I want to do is I want to explain to you when I'm using leverage, right? For me, leverage is on a slightly lower time frame, okay, because crypto is volatile. So when I see we are in a range for a couple of days, I'm quite interested in opening up a leverage bot. Now, if we look at the 4-hour time frame here on altcoins, and we look at where we've been, you could see that multiple times over the last 2-3 days, we've been up there, multiple times we've been down there. So in a circumstance like this, I can put a leverage bot into play. Now it's going to do the exact same thing. It's going to give you a bottom range. It's going to give you a top range. The only difference is you are going to have leverage applied to these trades, right? So you are going to make more money when it comes to the trading in between grids, as well as if the trade plays out. But again, now that you have leverage, you do have a risk of liquidation. So it's vital to put a stop loss, right? And to make sure you calculate that risk importantly. But remember, this is leverage. Anything to do with leverage, there is a liquidation risk, right? You can get liquidated for all your funds. So putting in a stop loss is important. Now let's go one below the grid bot and go to the futures grid bot over here. Same thing. Click on the manual section. Let's now open up a short-term bot on Bitcoins. I'm going to go to the 1 hour time frame here and I'm going to say, okay, this is my view of where we can bounce. And this is my view of where we've been multiple times and where we can reject. Okay, so again, what does it do? It gives me these areas of where's the top and where is the bottom, right? Where do I want to put a stop loss? Like for me, as an example, I'll put a Fibonacci. I want a stop loss below this area over here. That's when I invalidate this area over here. There's my stop loss. Okay. Now, let's put a bottom range in, 75,200. Okay, let's put top range in, 78,000. Let's put in the grids. I'm going to go around 15 grids. It will advise you if you need to change the amount of grids. Okay, but again, anything for me between 10 and 20 grids is what I pay attention to. Right, there's the grids. If I feel the market's going to be choppy, right, I'll increase this slightly so there's more grids. Right, if I feel it's going to be very directional type of thing, then I will put slightly less grids as I don't want to pay too much fees. Let's go. Okay, 20. Then what's very important here, guys, is your margin, right? Your margin is very important. And then what's very important, guys, is the leverage. So you can select a whole bunch of leverage. For me, I never go above 5x when it comes to bots. It's just not worth it unless you're really doing like trading for the day, then you can increase it. But for me, I usually would use around 2x bots. 5x, I've done 5x bots before. I have been liquidated before, right? Because a big crash came out of nowhere and I didn't have stop losses in. So stop losses are very, very, very important. But 5x is something that I still use to today. Anything above that is a little bit too risky, in my opinion. Then what you have over here is you have your margin, right? Now, the first thing I got to do is I got to transfer some money over, right? So let's go from spot to USDT futures margin and let's click that in. Okay, now I have $67. Okay, and what it's telling me is I have a little bit too little cash in here. So I'm gonna go to my bot. I'm just gonna close it up so I can show you guys. Let's go here. Let's terminate the bot. Sell for me. Get me out. Okay, let's go back. Slightly a little bit more cash in and let's open up our position. So let's go here. Okay, so again, now we're looking to transfer. So I click the transfer button from spot over here. As you can see, my money is now available and I send through the cash. Okay, now let's do that again. So 75,300 as my lower range. 78,000. Okay, 20 grids, 5x leverage. Okay, and I'm looking to put in $80. Once I have my margin over here, you can now go below if you want to put a stop loss in, which I do, right? I want to put my stop loss at 75,000. So I click on stop loss section over here, 75,000, take profit will be 78,300 over here. Right, and I can create my long bot. Now my bot is in, I'm ultimately long, right? Again, I have multiple grids to the downside and I have multiple grids to the upside. I have my lower price limit and my upper price limit. So there we go, bot is now open. So again, under running bots, here we go. Let's go through the stats. Again, I'm long Bitcoin now, 5x. There's the profit, there's the P&L, there's the margin, the amount of money that I put in. You then have the range, which you can adjust as it plays out. Then you got a liquidation price. You can see my liquidation price is all the way down at 31,700. And as you can see, it is nice and simple. Now guys, if you're looking at shorting, you have this option over here. So you want to create a shorting bot, you bearish over time shorting, or you want a neutral bot, right? Something that's just ranging up and down. These are different types that you can open through these areas, right? Neutral, basically long and short. So as price going up, right? It's shorting. As it comes down, it's taking profits, and then it's longing, right? So it's very good in ranges. And obviously, if you're looking at shorting, it's going to short me go up, it's going to take profits on the way down. If you're looking at longing, it's going to long on the way down and take profits on the way up. So guys, for me, this is a very powerful tool if you struggle with your emotions, if you're struggling in hard areas. What I do is I take around 5 to 7% of my portfolio and I build bots. So it's a powerful tool that I use. Overall, my money split in different ways. This is one of the most powerful strategies that I've learned because it helps me stay in the game, not have emotions. And as long as you put a stop loss, you can protect your risk, which is important. But ultimately, keeps it nice and simple for me. And if you're a believer like me, where I think the market's going to do incredibly well over the next couple of months to years, but need to survive this area, this can help you stay in the game. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Remember, if you don't have a Bitget link, there's a link below in the description, and I'll see you guys all on the next video.